Fellow hobbyists, collectors, and Predaheads alike, it is time for another review right here on Predator Collectibles. Now, if you're new to this channel, I'm your host, Glennon Taylor, and we take a look at anything underneath the Predator franchise, from action figures, comic book statues, prop replicas. Today happens to be a NECA review, and I know that normally I do tend to do my NECA reviews towards the end of the month, but I figured that next week will be something a little more special. I'm really excited about it, and for this particular review I'm just as equally as excited because I have one of the original figures that was released back in 2007, 11 years ago to this month, and that happens to be the original Alien vs. Predator wolf figure from NECA. Sorry about the glare. But this happens to be the original that was released 11 years ago, and frankly it's really amazing on how 11 years can change in regards to a company, their development of their figures. And I do have the one that was released back in 2016, so you can tell here really quickly the difference between what 11 years looks like. So you have the Alien vs. Predator Temple Guard, and you have the original Wolf Predator right here side by side. It's just miraculous on the absolute difference, you know, between what it will look like for these figures when they changed factories. It seemed, what, 3-4 years ago they changed factories, but 11 years difference between what they are now compared to what they were, you know, 11 years ago when the movie was released. So I'm really excited to show you what exactly a NECA 11-year-old figure looks like. So let's get started. I normally do the box and packaging first, and then we move on to the figure and the accessories. So I do want to see and show you what the old clamshells looked like 11 years ago. So let's start off with that. With this clamshell, the clamshells that they used for NECA were all heat treated and heat sinked to make sure they were securely fastened, and I really am glad they were moved away from this because these things were a royal pain in the rear end to open. So I'm glad they did away with the clamshell packaging. However, it does have the Alien vs. Predator REQUIEM logo and the Wolf Predator photo shoot promotional artwork on the bottom. In the back of it, you have the Alien, the Hybrid, which is the Pred-Alien, and then you have the Predator Wolf. So that's pretty much standard for a clamshell from NECA 11 years ago. But I really want to see what the difference is between this figure and what all the other figures were from this current date and time. So let's get them out of the package. The one thing that you will definitely notice, or what I can take away from this video as a review, is that the paint application on these older figures are not what they are now, by no means or shape of the definition. These actually are very rough as far as paint goes. The sculpt usually is always the best part, but unfortunately a lot of qualifications in relation to the paint is what a lot of fans were harping on with these older figures. Now, you do have everything as far as the netting goes. You have the shuriken on the belt, you have the jawbone as well, you have the armor, you also have the gauntlets and the dreads. Everything's here as far as the accuracy to the character, but even with this head that you're now looking at, the eye is not that great. I mean, looking at this particular head, the paint is definitely not what I would expect out of what NECA is now. But overall, like I said, this is an older figure, they changed factories, and this is pretty much the only good thing we were getting at the time when this movie was released. And NECA was slowly getting away from McFarlane, because McFarlane also did Alien vs. Predator figures as well. The accessories is something that I really do like about NECA and what they are able to come up with as far as to go with the figure itself, to have it be in a pose. And what you're looking at right now are the two shoulder cannons, or guns. And the reason that they are guns is because in the movie he does change them out from a cannon to a gun. He only has the one, but in this consideration you have two. Not quite sure if I like the fact that they have handles attached to them, being since in the movie there's only one actual gun as opposed to two. And they do attach to the back of the figure as they're supposed to. So I do like that as an accessory to have both guns, both being handles. I just wish there was kind of only one option as opposed to having them two cannons slash guns. The other accessory I really do like is the open shuriken, and you have the closed shuriken as I mentioned before on the figure, but in this case you have the open shuriken to indicate that he has one closed and one being used. So I do like that as an option as well. And believe it or not, even though this is an older open shuriken, you can use this as well on the Fugitive Predator from the new movie that was just released back in September. The other accessory that I also like is the med kit or backpack, and I really do like the sculpt and detail on this. It does match that equally along with what you're seeing now as the behind the scenes sculpt, as well as some in-scene footage of how the med kit was used. So I really do like this med kit. I'm glad it came with as an accessory to the Predator for Wolf. The other accessory you're now seeing is the open hand, and this open hand is what would be great to use for whatever it is that you need it with, whether it be the open shuriken or the guns. But as you can tell from the peg, they don't use the standardized ball joints as they do now. This is something that they started using many years ago, and they decided to go something with more mobility and more joint articulation. So they moved away from this to going with the ball joints. What you're looking at currently is a concept artwork for the whip design that they decided to go with for the Wolf Predator as a new weapon, and it does come with this figure as a standardized accessory, and I love this whip very much. I'm glad they were able to showcase it with this figure, and I just love the design of the whip. I love the idea of the whip in the movie where it wraps around an alien and it just shreds them to pieces. I absolutely love this as a weapon. It's one of my favorite weapons for a Predator arsenal, and I'm glad I was able to get this to articulate it and pose him in any way, shape, or form that I could. And in this particular pose you're looking at right now is kind of reminiscent for what the concept artwork I just showed you a few minutes ago. Overall, as I mentioned before, there's fantastic accessories with this figure, a total of 6. That includes the open hand. I think that's a lot of accessories for a figure that back then, 11 years ago, only cost $15. Now you're looking at spending between $25 or $30. So it's imagining 11 years ago with inflation and with better paint, better articulation, as well as better sculpt, with Ultimate Figures and how the price has changed. But as an investment, you do get a much more, way better figure. And depending upon the character, might actually be something that you might be interested in to adding to your Predator collection, whether it be the Wolf that's coming out later next year of 2019. So I might actuality go ahead and compare a true 11-year-old figure to the new Ultimate figure that'll be released by NECA next year by late 2019, according to what Randy Falk said, the production designer over at NECA. Now keep in mind that I'm a huge Predator fan overall. I don't necessarily like Alien vs. Predator Requiem as a movie. It was too dark, too edited. As you can tell from this footage, what was shot during the day is now the finished product that you're looking at now was edited to be dark. Not a huge fan of that. But again, I digress, because overall it did give us the Wolf Predator, and I have, you know, a lot of things in my collection that may be Wolf related to this artwork from Preston Azevedo, and I'll leave a link right here because I did interview him at Alabama Comic-Con. And you also have, of course, my Titan figure, the original San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from 2008, back in that year when this figure was released. Overall, I do like the Wolf. I think the Wolf was a pretty cool character. And next week is something really even cool that pertains to a theme park over at Universal Studios in Hollywood. So make sure you keep it right here on Predator Collectibles. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be doing another holiday giveaway, so make sure you stay it right here. Also, before I forget, sorry, this mask that I got right here happens to be from a loyal subscriber, and I'll leave a link right here from a mystery Christmas box that he gave me. And I also will link a YouTube channel to him. I want to thank you, Last Pharaoh, for giving me this mask. It's really cool and better timing to showcase it here on this video. So again, guys, make sure you give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you also share this video on all social media platforms. It helps out the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that subscribe button as well as the bell notification for when all my videos are uploaded. I will see you next week. Thank you for the support, and as always, happy hunting.